Did you know one of the biggest hacks that I ever learned in this game had nothing to do with how we create our offer, how we position ourselves, how we market ourselves, and it had everything to do with finding one specific offer that worked and then changing the who and the niche for that offer, and then ultimately being able to consistently use that offer to find high ticket clients. Hey, my friends, it's Super Sid, the business shaman, and I'm super excited that you came here and visited our channel today. This channel is all geared around helping coaches and healers find more freedom in their lives and ultimately create consistent 10K paydays in their coaching and their healing business so they can go out there and do that. In this video today, we're going to be putting up a recent training that we put in our community of hundreds of coaches and healers going over how to find a perfect profitable niche for their coaching business. In this training, we're going to be going over what a niche is. We're going to be going over specifically how do we carve out and find out what niche we want to help. And then we're specifically going to be going over what our core message is and how we can use this core message to talk to the niche that we want to go out there and help. So I'm super excited that you came to this training today, and I cannot wait to see you on the inside. So without any further ado, let's head in to this training.
There's actually a really good movie. It's funny because it has to do with my favorite story that really ties into this. And I talk about it in a brand new presentation that I'm putting together called the Two Wolves to Freedom. And it's all around me and Tiffany taking walks on our freedom path. We'll be coming out with that brand new show here in about a week and a half. And one of the things that I think we really realized was how close knit business and personal things were. And when our business wasn't right, our life usually wasn't right. When our life wasn't right, our business usually wasn't right, and vice versa. When our life was right, our business was right. When our business was right, usually our life was right. And it had to do with habits, and it had to do with discipline. And day two, and in step two, is to have an idea of who it is that we're going to want to be helping, right? I think at the end of the day, we want to identify the solution first, right? I think a lot of people think that you got to pick a niche, or you got to find a niche, you got to find a group, no, that's backwards. That's backwards. You don't pick people you're going to help if you don't know how you're going to help them yet. Okay. So now that we understand whatever our solution was and what we talked about yesterday, and we started building that framework and those steps for that solution, the next thing we want to understand, right, is ultimately what is a niche? But first, what are the marketplaces that we can find our niches in? So the first thing we want to understand is what we call the three core markets. Okay. Now, as a coach or as a healer, right, as a consultant, even as a lot of things, but as a coach and as a healer, 100% of the time, we work out of these three core markets. Our niche and the people that we help, but primarily the problem that we're helping them with sits in one of these three core markets. So these three core markets kind of sit like this, right? It's kind of how we do it, right? They're all the same size. I just, yeah. So, one's going to be, and I'm going to show you a better one here, but one's going to be called health, one's wealth, and then one's relationships. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to show you kind of a better version of this right here right now. And you all can see, basically how, kind of how it looks here. So ultimately, when you look at our three core markets, what we're wanting to look at is, I think a lot of people get stuck in, well, my solution could fall into both. It usually does. In fact, there's a chance when you get really, really good at this, that your solution that you have could fall into all three. Now, when we look at these three core markets, and we're really going to be diving into this on day 6, but when we look at these three core markets, right, we're going to be either helping them get closer to pleasure, meaning they're going to be feeling better when they work with us and our solution, or they're going to be getting farther away from pain that they're experiencing. So for those of you that help people, that are mindset coaches and help people with trauma, you're helping them get rid of pain. And that getting rid of pain, or getting over that pain, or getting through that pain that they're currently in, is helping them get one step closer to the thing that we all are selling, which is happiness. Happiness in all forms, but ultimately the emotion of happiness. And happiness is the emotion that drives what all of us want, which is freedom. Okay. That's why Tiffany and I's mastermind is literally called the freedom path. It's not called, happiness path. It's not called the path to happiness. It's called freedom path. We get on the path to reaching the freedom that we want in our life, stepping into that room that Johnny Depp stepped in, stepping into that reality that we create, that we want. Because it's not just a business thing, it's a personal thing as well. Because when our personal life is in order, usually our business is in order, and vice versa. Okay. And it all comes back down to taking step-by-step actions and then creating disciplines in what it is that we want to have. That's it. Okay. All right. So 3 core markets. We have health, wealth, and then we have relationships. Okay. So when we're looking at health, wealth, and relationships, what we're looking at here, right, is we are going to, within that main market that we choose. So maybe, you're helping people with, whatever it might be, and you're like, okay, well, it could fall into health, wealth, or relationships. This is where, right, one of 2 things happens. We can literally, right, look at it and say, this is who I want to work with, because this is what my solution is tied to. So again, you could look at the divorce scenario that I talked about yesterday. We're going to be using that scenario a lot. It's a great scenario because it was a great story. But again, right, helping people get through divorce and get to their first date, but helping people get through divorce or helping people who are divorced, you could be helping people who are divorced make sure they don't lose their shirt in the divorce. You could be making sure that people, don't get, gain weight and become unattractive and go completely downhill after a divorce. Or you could help them, get better with themselves, which is relationships, or go out there and do what we did, which was help them get a first date. But regardless, the niche of divorced people or the group of divorced people could fall into any one of these core markets. But you choose the core market based on what the solution is. And then the first step is based on who you actually want to work with. But here's the second step, and this is one I really, I get on our Freedom Path members, I get on our, our group about doing this, this kind of activity, and kind of installing this kind of activity, especially when you're getting started and you're making your first 6 figures, right, is installing this activity into your daily life. And what that is the activity of research. That's the activity of looking, listening, finding, being the detective in the marketplace that is constantly on the lookout for what the massive segments or the massive groups inside that marketplace want. At the end of the day, we can be as smart as we want, but if we're promoting something that no one either A, understands, or B, wants or understands why they want, no one's going to look your way. So when we can go in there and we can find the phrases that they use, find the people that they think that they need to be working with, or the things or the resources they think they need to have, we can start talking about those things and then attracting and getting those people to look right back at us. But we can't do that if we're just picking and not looking in the marketplace, not being a detective. There's 3 types of people that we look to be. Excuse me. There's 3 types of people that we look to be inside our business. When we start our business and it's just us, or it's us and a VA or whatever, there's 3 roles that any successful 6-figure entrepreneur needs to carry. The first thing is going to be they need to be a CEO. The first thing is they're going to be an entrepreneur. So as an entrepreneur, they're going to be the detective, what I just told you about. They're literally going to build the thing that people want to buy because they're going to have that genius, they're going to have that art, and then that's going to be your offer. And then they're also going to go out there and consistently be a detective inside the marketplace and deal with a lot of the big relationships inside the marketplace so they can get more eyeballs on them. Alex Hormozi right now, playing a huge entrepreneur role in his company. Huge. He's not playing the CEO role though. Layla is, right? So I want you to see that's that dynamic. But when you get started, and when Alex got started with Gym Launch, it was just Alex. I think Layla came in soon thereafter, but when he started it, he had to play CEO role. And to his admission, Alex was very bad at it because he would go with bags of money. Hey, drop the money in the bag, literally at the gym. So, he jokes around about that, but it's interesting, right? All right. Next is going to be, what we classify as your CEO role. So your CEO role, which also classifies as Chief Executive Officer, that is going to be your systems person. Okay, that is going to be the person that goes in there and makes your business more efficient. Those are the people that build out usually what we call SOPs, or System of Operational Procedure. Those are also, so basically put your business on paper. Those are going to be the people that do a lot of the hiring, a lot of the vision of the company, stuff like that, right? And then the last one, I don't want to get stuck here too long. The last one's the dancing monkey. That's your CMO. That's the person who knows how to promote, knows how to sell. right? So you got to be able to sell, you got to be able to build, and you got to be able to lead. And if you can do those three things, you're typically going to be one heck of a dude or a lady out there right, being a coach or a healer, because you're going to be out there kicking major butt and also having one business that can support it. And guess what happens when that happens? You can go help a lot more people on the backside of that business, because you can donate, you can give charity, you can create charity, you can create philanthropy, and then you can go out there and help whoever you want. But we got to have a successful business to do that first. And where people mess this up is they mess this up in trying to help everybody. Oh, my solution could fit into all three. No, we got to get good with one first. If we're not good with one, we'll never be good with three. We'll never be good with five. We'll never be good with 10. Got to get a single winner. I was actually talking to this big, I have about a 15 to 20 minute kind of spiel that I give people at 10K payday. And it's over that one concept. It's literally like, look, you do not build 2 or 3. You do not build second or third offer. You do not go out and promote second or third offer until your main offer is getting sales. Until your core offer, we're going to go over your core offer tomorrow. Until your core offer is getting sales, you stay there. And if your core offer is consistently not getting sales, then it might not be an offer that the marketplace needs right now, and we need to adjust it. This is why we don't spend money on ads early. This is why we don't go out there and spend a lot of time on building a course or shooting videos or anything like that early, because ultimately, right, people buy ideas. When people buy Apple, and this is on the TED Talk from, I promise this will be the last tangent, and then I'll keep going, but it's from the TED Talk from, who was it? Simon Sinek. And he's literally talking about Apple at his TED Talk, and he's saying, why do people buy Apple? Well, they're not buying Apple because of the iPhone. They're not buying Apple because of the Mac Pro. They got all these different products. They're buying Apple because of the idea of what Apple wants the world to be. So Apple could come out with this new alien tomorrow, and there would be people that bought it. They could come out with a paperweight tomorrow, and there would be people that buy it. Because of the brand of Apple and what Apple stands for, not necessarily the products they sell. And when you can create that, it's not hard. That's when you start making movement. And then you can build and you can build and you can build. So ultimately, this is something Hermosi kind of really taught me last year and really helped me just understand. But, right, you kind of have like these different marketplaces, okay? Kind of look like it. That's not bad. That's like some of the best drawing I've ever done. All right, so you kind of have these, like, my man getting help with this pet. So you kind of have these marketplaces, right? And these would be classified as how big the marketplace is. Well, I think a lot of people, like I was talking to people at our 10K payday event, and they were like, well, I want to work with entrepreneurs, right? I want to work with entrepreneurs. That's a huge marketplace, right? But if they went down to entrepreneurs in this situation who did this, who lived there, becomes a lot smaller of a marketplace. But also, here's what people get wrong. They're like, well, it's not enough people that have a problem. If you picked this right, there's plenty. And the easiest part is that since it's a smaller marketplace than this, there's less competition, there's less people screaming, and it makes it a lot easier, faster, and better for you to go in there and help these people faster. And then once we conquer this marketplace here, right? Smaller marketplace, maybe the marketplace for you gets down into the town, and it's not even the town. Maybe it's the, I live in Dallas, Texas. So maybe it's like the east side of Dallas. I'm the expert, right? You come to me. If I'm the guy that helps people, like I'm the guy you come to in East Dallas, right? The entrepreneur who's in this situation, who has this and lives there. Maybe that's the, you really you really want to start that small because you want to get a yes as fast as you can, right? And then once you become the expert in East Dallas, maybe now you're the expert in all of Dallas, right? And then once you're the expert in all of Dallas, then it becomes, well, maybe I'm the entrepreneur who does this everywhere, and you can start talking in this marketplace. And then once you become the expert in this marketplace, you can then start talking to the entrepreneur marketplace, right? But if you try starting up here and then going down here, it's going to take 10 times as long. Because there's more noise, there's more stuff up here, there's more competition, there's more people ahead of you, there's more people who have better social proof, there's more people who have better experiences, there's more people who have more stuff. So the competition is going to be a lot harder. And usually when you're getting started, it just becomes like engulfing. So what we do is we shrink it down and then we go in there and we find the quickest yeses, the people that need our help. And the way that we do that is we create smaller marketplaces to begin, and then we widen. Okay. So now that you've chosen, one of the things I want you to do, and for those of you, if you're here live, I want you to put a 1 down there in the chat. If you're not live, excuse me, if you're not live or you catch the replay, please put a replay down there. I have a 2 worksheet kind of thing that walks you through this. It's called the Identity Identifier Worksheet. It's going to walk you through everything that you need to know to pick your niche, to have your avatar, all that stuff ready to go. So I promise that we're going to go over it here today, but I want to make sure that you work through it. So if you catch this live, if you catch this on replay, make sure to go down there into the comments and comment 1 for us, and I will get that over to you. All right. So we talked about specifically, right, like within the main market that you choose. So you can choose the market, but ultimately you want to research, you want to find where the problems are. You're then going to identify a submarket or multiple submarkets like I did here that you want to identify. So if you go into here, you'll see health, wealth, and relationships are sitting in the center. But ultimately, right, the first kind of step, right, that all these are going to take are going, as you can see, are going to be groups of people, right? These are groups of people. Now, this is a great map to start, right? But these are going to be the groups of people that you're reaching out to. Now, you can take it down even farther, like I said. So like this can then become more, right? And if I really wanted to, this can become, you can just keep going if you wanted to. But ultimately, this is where a lot of people like to start. And this is where I'd kind of like to start with you. So ultimately, right, because you can see like each one of these go here to like diet. And then where it goes from diet, that's your niche, right? So it's usually 2 levels. Ultimately, right, maybe you're wanting to help people in health, but you're wanting to help a group of people around nutrition. That's the thing, right? Maybe you're wanting to help people around strength training and getting bigger. Maybe you're wanting to help people around weight loss. You notice strength training, weight loss, still health, still feeling better, still really, really great at making your body look good or your energy levels get higher, but it's 2 completely different things, right? And that's kind of what I want you to kind of really see here and kind of massage into your head here. You get into relationships, and we talked about the example that we use a lot with the relationship coach that I worked with. It was the first coach, ironic. So I'm probably just going to keep talking about him forever. You look at, the marriage advice, the dating advice, the love, like all of that, right? All of those technically are the same thing, but they're different groups of people because they're dealing with different experiences in their life right now. One's married, one's not. Maybe, and then maybe both of them, married or unmarried, to fit into the love category because they're not feeling the love in their relationship, or they're single, right? So, you see how like it can go a lot of places. You got to choose. And then usually it's not just you choosing, it's you identifying where the need is in the marketplace. And I can't beat that down anymore. Okay. So once we identify these things, and then we're like, okay, this is my specific niche. I'm working with this group of people who's in this situation, they can get help with this result, this solution that I talked about yesterday in day 1 right now, right? So now that we identify that, right, I'm going to give you all a couple of seconds, but what I want you all to think of is I want you all to like subset that down twice. Health, wealth, or relationships. Which one do you fall in there? Health, wealth, or relationships. You can comment down here below if you want. Or you can, you can comment down here below if you want, or you can simply, my phone keeps freezing, or you can simply, just want to make sure you're still good. Yeah, but basically like you want to pick the level. So who's the group of people? Health, wealth, or relationship? Who's the group of people? Like here is it finance, investing, real estate, sales, love, dating advice. What is that? And then beyond that, what situation are they in? So you at least want to go like first level, second level, third level. You want to kind of at least be in here. Get my Freedom Path people to go an extra level to get started. Usually that helps them get to their first sale a lot faster. But I won't get that deep with you. All right. So, is it health, wealth, or relationships? And then what are we helping them with? So this is like the solution, right? Core solution, diet, nutrition, group of people who want help with what thing, this here. And then from there, right, we want to make sure that we then pick what situation they're currently in. All right. So that's going to be kind of going in there and identifying that niche, right? So we talked about like the 3 core markets, which was this here. Now we've identified sub markets. Now what I want to go over with you all, which really is the last piece of this when it comes to identifying your niche, right, is what we call your surface and core desires, as well as your perfect client avatar. Okay. So I think a lot of times when people look at picking a niche, the first thing they start with is your perfect client avatar, and it's the last thing that you actually do. And I'm going to go over why in a second. Next thing we want to go over is what we call your surface and your core desires. Okay. Now, from what you've heard me talk about time and time again, so we're going to sit this down here. We got your surface, and this is going to be talking about this on that worksheet, that identity identifier worksheet. Okay. So this is going to be talking about that on that identity identifier worksheet, but I'm going to kind of give you, right? I'm going to exit out of this. We're not going to be using this anymore. All right. So we talk about like the identity identifier worksheet, right? So like when we look at like, what is your surface desire? What is your core desire, right? So your surface desire is actually going to be what you're selling someone. So it's going to be like the thing that they know that they want. Your core desire is going to be what that thing, resource, tool provides for them. Usually your core desire comes back down to happiness and freedom. That's what everybody wants, right? It's tied to everything. Now, what our goal to figure out is here. What our goal to figure out with happiness and freedom is how, like, what is the thing it gives us that gives us happiness and freedom? But ultimately, it all boils down to this. Okay. Your surface desire is going to be the resource. So the resource is typically tied to the major core desire. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Your resource is typically tied to the major core desire. So what I mean by that is your surface desire. With me, it's helping people create 10K paydays, consistent 10K paydays, go out there and build a 6-figure business, right? So when we go out there, that means mine is tied to wealth. So when I'm looking at my surface desire, what I'm talking at and the thing that they want is to create a 10K payday. A 10K payday has to do with wealth, right? So this is going to be, right, thing that they know they need, right, to get here. That is tied to that, because this is all of our life. So everything is tied to health, wealth, or relationships. Okay. So ultimately, right, the happiness doesn't have to be money related. It can be relationship related, finding love, getting on your first date again with that, example that I gave, right? All that stuff. Health, right, could be weight loss, could be, feeling better about yourself, could be mindset related. There's a lot of mindset stuff out there, right? And then could be, wealth is all about money. So ultimately, this health might be related to getting to your body weight. It's not about a 10K payday. It's about get to your ideal body weight, right? That's their surface desire. And they know when they get to their ideal body weight, they're going to be happy because they got more energy. They feel better. They look better. More people think they're sexy. Same thing with relationships, right? Like, now, if they look at this, they're getting closer to that feeling of happiness. That means they're getting, we talked about this earlier, they're getting closer to pleasure there. But again, like, you could also look at this and flip it and say, I don't want to be known as that guy who's overweight. I don't want that lifestyle. So it could be flipped into pain. So again, you make this choice. You make this choice. And tomorrow, or I'm sorry, in a couple of days, when we go over messaging, like that is going to be, right? When we go over messaging, like that is going to be when you make that choice. And then when we go on day 6 and we go through positioning is where you take a stand. And we're going to really talk about breaking in and the types of things we want to look at when we take that stand. Okay. All right. So anyway, we understand that the core desire is always tied to happiness and freedom. We also understand the thing that they need is going to be the core desire. This thing that they need is also going to be tied back to the core markets. Okay. So if you look at health, wealth, and relationships, right? And I've given you some examples, right? These basically things that we want to find. Now you can just put happiness and freedom here now and work this out, but we need to find the thing that they need. And this is usually tied to the solution that we provide that we came up with yesterday. See, everything is going to build on each other in these 10 days. It's going to be blown away. You're going to be like, what? Is that easy? Yeah, it really is. One little step each day. Okay. All right. So now that we see this and we see this is what they need, then what we're going to go do, now we want to write that down. So again, if you're live, if you catch the replay, put it in the comments. I will make sure, right, to get you over the identity identifier that's here in this group. And I'll make sure that you have it so you can work on this and that we can work on it together in creating your 10K payday. Okay. All right. Last thing we want to talk about is, I could put it down here in the corner, this corner. Yeah, which is fine. But you're going to laugh at me. It's just totally cool. This is how I do it though. A lot of people, when they talk about picking your niche, and I can't tell you how many courses I've been a part of where they don't even go through half of what I went over yet. Like they don't even do it. Like they say, go pick your perfect client avatar, add their attributes. And then once you have it, we'll start building up a profile. The big challenge they have with that is they don't do any detective work on if that avatar A exists and B needs help, but they don't have any idea if that avatar is out there in multiple places. They don't have anything like that. So ultimately what happens is people will forget, right? They'll forget about this avatar, right? They'll forget about, I'm gonna add this up here too. No problem. You got this. Gotta get that B-roll, son. Right. But ultimately, like they're going to oops, this around. But what's going to happen is there we go. Bam. That's what's so great about live training. You get all of it, right? But what's going to happen is they're going to build out this avatar. And then when they build out this avatar, they're not going to have any idea if this avatar even exists. They're going to have any idea if this avatar is in the marketplace currently. They're going to have any idea if these problems actually exist at a mass level to where people are going to need your help in the marketplace. They don't have any idea of any of that. You're just guessing at that point. Whereas when you go through this stuff, you're going through that entrepreneurial, that little bit of that research, you're digging in that marketplace a little bit. And there's specific ways that we work with people on how to do that. There's specific strategies and all that stuff. But ultimately, right, like understanding these basic principles is what's going to help you with getting there, right? So if we do these things, we understand the surface design, we understand the core marketplace, we understand segment down to and really niche down into who it is that we want to work with and that has the need, meaning that they're out there, they're looking for help right now. You know they're looking for help because other people are running ads to those exact people. Other people are out in the marketplace telling you those exact people. Those people are in places in the marketplace screaming that they need help. Oh, I want to create something for them and my solution can be added into that can help them, right? That's how we do it. We backdoor it. We don't guess. But when we really want to tie this and we want to tie it into a specific who and give them a name and all that, I'm all for it. So usually what I do, and this is the extent of how I do it, this is how great I am at drawing. You can't tell, left-handed, you know, creative minds don't typically have good handwriting. Anyway, I told you this was like the best drawing I've ever done. It was awesome. So this is what I'll do, and I'm going to give you a blank piece. There's a blank piece of paper on this worksheet. I think it's on the third sheet, and it gives you instructions on what to do when building out your avatar. I literally will build out. They always have a smiley face. They always got eyes and a nose. I will literally build out my avatar starting with a stick figure every time. That's the extent of my drawing. And I think that people get caught up in the colors, and you don't need that. I don't even like draw them out as much. I'm a very visual person. So I might like, you know, cover them or add a hat or something like that, but I don't do colors. I don't do anything like that. You want to know what I do? On this side, I list things that they have, right? Situations that they're in, things that are on their brain, things that they read, things that they go after, things that they're currently reading, watching, listening to. Where are they going and hanging out, right? What has got their attention? Because whatever has their attention, I want to be right there with the sign, right? We also want to understand, this is what I use. So, you know, this side might be, you know, things like, where do they find their information? On the right side, right, this is where they find information on the right side. You can flop these, I mean, it doesn't matter. On the right side is my experience side. Right? So this is going to be what current experiences are they having, what current realities are they living in, and what current realities do they want to live in? What do they think is going to get them there currently? And what do they really need to get them there? Right? That's where I write all that stuff. And then usually at the top or at the bottom, wherever there's sparse, right? I will, so we go into, you know, the info experience. I will go into like things that they are, you know, I say that's really falls under experience, but I'll really go into like situation or situational. So like this would be like current experience, right? So like I'll go into like situation. Right. So now I understand like what are they thinking, thoughts that they have, where are they going to get in their info? What is it, the books that they read? What is TV, movies that they are watching? Where do they go and get their information on YouTube? That's really the new TV anyway. All of those questions I'm going through my head. And all I'm looking to do is, this is like me going to the marketplace, but I'm building kind of the starting point in the map here, but I'm going into that marketplace and I'm like, okay, so I understand this is, it's going to cut off. If it's health, it's just, I don't need to look in these two, which is going to speed it up by 3 times, right? Because you're only focused, you know, and it really just, when you niche it down like this, it's not necessarily saying, I think a lot of people make the mistake because I can't tell you how many coaches are like, you don't got to pick a niche. I'm not saying you got to pick a niche. I'm not saying you have to go out there and say you only work with these type of people. Ultimately, the health, wealth, and relationships core market, and how I explained it earlier, how your solution can fit into all of them is true. This isn't about could it, would it, should it. This is about what's the quickest way to a 10K payday. This is about what's the quickest way to getting my business off the ground or my business to exceed where it's at. This is the quickest way to go out there and find paying customers. I'm saying couldn't work doing it the other way. I'm saying this is the fastest way to money. This is the fastest way to a 10K payday. And when you follow it this way, you typically get clients faster and you typically get money faster. And at the end of the day, you're going to hear so many crazy things out there in the life coaching healing world. A for-profit business's purpose is to make money. And if the business is not black on the sheet, what I mean by that is it doesn't turn a profit. Your for-profit business does not care how many people that you made smile that year. It can't breathe. It can't operate. And ultimately, it's going to be shutting its doors. And usually what happens with entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers, that they literally get themselves where their health gets in question. They're not eating. They're not taking care of themselves. And then they begin to lose it. They begin to become a person they never wish they would be. Typically the exact opposite person of the type of person they wanted to be to help people. And it all starts with not treating their business as a business, but treating it as a hobby or a charity, which it is not. You want to be a charity? Be a charity. That's totally cool. My little sister runs a charity that we that our family kind of is a part of, a big part of. And it's all around helping women find their purpose, which is very, get into the Christian lifestyle. I'm not bringing religion into it, just saying. And she runs it up there. It is a charity though, right? We work on getting donations from people every single quarter to help that business operate in the hundreds of thousands of dollars and the 30 employees, all that stuff. That business has to get money somehow. It's not getting money from the teenagers. It's getting money from donations. That's how that business operates. If you want to operate that way and you want to go out there and help as many people as you can, that's fine, but it's just a different business model. If you're a charity, if you're a nonprofit, nonprofits are awesome, but it's a different business model. Your balance sheet at the end has to get to zeros, right? Charity, your balance sheet's usually below zero because you're getting donations. You don't make any money at all and you operate in debt. Whereas your profitable business, which I'll be honest with you, most, like when I say most, 99.999% are for profit. You're here because you want to make money. And not only that, I even come close to saying 100%. If you join this group that says your first or your next 100K, you're here to make money. The fastest way to money is picking a niche, dialing down that niche, finding people who have those problems and going out there and helping people with those problems until you find something, until you validate or unvalidate your offer. And then you rehearse and you review and you revise it.
If you're a coach or a healer and you're looking to go out there and create consistent 10K paydays where you go out there and sign up new clients every single week, I got a free gift for you all about how to create a 10K payday consistently, and it's down there in the description. So make sure to take action now and grab your free course on how to create a consistent 10K payday right now in the description. And don't forget, we all win when we all win. Let's go out there and let's make a choice to win today. We'll see you in the next video.